The other day I did a video on the BOSS GX10 talking about it being sort of like a forgotten modeler in terms of being quite cheap, very flexible, and being able to do dual lamps and stuff like that. As it turns out, I'm always the last to know about any of these BOSS releases. I don't think I've actually done a launch video for them yet, but yes. Okay, so this video is not sponsored, although they did send me this piece of gear after launch when I asked them to, which is good of them. Here's the GX10.
This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library of lessons from some of my favourite players. There's thousands of lessons on there. You can use the promo code JNC40 to get 40% off of any of their courses.
My first time seeing it. I've not actually seen anyone else's actual video of this. From what I know, it's just the GX100 shrunk down. So probably first thing I'll do, here we've got power supply, is just put on one of my own presets. And that is a very small little unit. And we'll compare the size and that sort of thing. So there's the GX100. GX10. So they have shrunk it down. They've kept basically everything there. So yeah, size-wise compared to an FM3, we're dealing with that sort of situation. Compared to an HX Effects, a little bit bigger. Well, it's not an HX Effects, that's a Fractal VP4. An HX Effects. So, in fact, same sort of footprint as all of these units really, and an HX Stomp. Now the kicker with this really is that the GX10 is pretty much as powerful as any of these units, more powerful even. Can run dual amps and about 10 to 11 simultaneous blocks if you've got dual amping in it. And if you set up your presets in a certain way, you can get gapless preset switching as well. So what you could do is just have this set up to have like 3 presets and something on the expression pedal. So I guess we'll get into that. So I would say it's definitely in keeping with the trend currently, which seems to be to sort of shrink stuff down. Question would be, like the GT1000 core, very sort of similar form factor in a lot of ways. You've got the expression pedal built in, but would this make sense for a bunch of people as well? I think Johnny Marr actually uses one of these. But you're going to be getting the basic sounds. The core difference, I guess, would be that this is a more flexible signal chain touchscreen, whereas this is semi-fixed, and you've got like 24 simultaneous blocks. You'll probably fit potentially more blocks in here, but you'll have less flexibility about what they are. Whereas in this, if you just wanted a full preset of, you know, flanges or a full preset of reverbs, you could do that. So more flexible than this. This is kind of, I guess, in some ways a bit like a grown-up GT1, I guess you could think of it as. The question for me, because it's actually a really powerful thing with lots of effects possible in there, you know, like 11 and the dual amp rig, are you able to get the most out of that with just these 3 foot switches? So I think reasonably, probably what you're going to be thinking is, what can I do with these 3 foot switches? So you can see, obviously you've got tuner here. If you press these 2 like this, you go between manual mode, and this is the normal mode, which you can see you can kind of go up and down through presets. Now, important to note that if you have the same kind of arrangement here, so you could change like your amps and different types of effects, but if you keep the general arrangement the same, then it will spill over and maintain trails between presets. So that's important, I think, because that gives you quite a bit more flexibility. None of the other units except for the FM3 will do that at this kind of size. So there is some real flexibility in there, but it's a bit of a nuanced discussion about how you would actually do that. So you would create, I think, your kind of master preset, which would have all of the stuff you need in it, and then you would make tweaks, so you'd like change the amp block on whichever ones you need it to change, and you could realistically cycle between presets in that way. The other thing you can do, of course, is in manual mode, you can have assignments here for different pedals. So here I've got a boost and an OD. And you've equally got an external pedal switch here. So you can have like 2 switches here. You could change what control 1 does as well. So you could have 3 switches. So boost, OD, and something else. Or you could use the assign matrix, manual, assign settings here. So you could have multiple things assigned to each of these switches. So you can set up like a manual kind of version of like snapshots, because you can change different parameters, the effect level and all that sort of stuff. So that's, I think, a little bit of a whistle-stop tour of how you could get the most out of just these buttons. Of course, you'd probably be assigning, for me, I'm assigning delay here. Got an expression foot switch as well, so that's one other foot switch. And then you can go between these 2 modes here, which are either going between presets with 1 control switch, or you press again and you can control individual effect assignments. For me, I think I'd be having to think quite hard about exactly how I would set it up for players. So I guess for me, I'd set it up something like how I gig the HX Stomp, where you've got like a rhythm tone, lead tone and clean tone, and then if you go into your manual mode, you'd have 2 switches that could do other stuff, and then I'd probably run the expression with my delay and reverb mix, I think is how I would do it. Let me know in the comments how you think you do it, what you think of the GX10, will you be grabbing one? So the other question for me would be, is this going to change Boss's fortune in any particular way? I think Boss with the GX100 were already making moves down this line where it's like, well, actually now with the touchscreen and stuff like that, and with the flexible routing, I think they were taking steps forward from the GT1000 and 1000 core. They've also started adding some updates. I think, yeah, there's still a little bit of a way to go before, I think in some ways they catch up in terms of like the amp modeling approach, which up till now has been, I think they really focused on, you know, smaller amounts of amp models, and a huge portion of them, they're not even based on a real world thing. I don't know if that necessarily resonates with people the same way as if you kind of build amp models based on real world stuff. I think that seems to be what people trust more and go for more. But yeah, maybe that's something that they're going to add more of. I'd like to see with this Boss stuff how things continue to develop, because I think it's quite interesting gear. Optional Bluetooth adapter here. So, you know, Bluetooth connectivity if you want that sort of thing as well.
I guess for me as well, reasonably, I'd be asking like a question like, how much can you actually fit in a preset? So we've got 2 drives here, 2 amps and cabs. So that's 4 already. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, a Terra Echo, a Space Echo, a delay dual, and 2 reverbs. So that gives you some sense. Of course, the delays and reverbs here are actually some of the more expensive blocks. So if we were to take that out, I think we might find, I don't love the touchscreen to be honest with you, that we can add in some other bits potentially. Can we get a rotary in as well? No. So what have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's get rid of the Space Echo maybe. Then can we get in a phaser? Can we get in a flanger? No. So some more expensive blocks than others. Of course, that makes a difference. So 9, 10, 11 there. So this is with dual amps. If we got rid of one of the amps, yes. So now we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 blocks. So more than you're going to get in your HX Stomp. Similar to what you might get in FM3, but you can't dual amp with the FM3. So very, I'd say, powerful compared to the competition. More than you get in an HX Stomp, more than you get in a Hotone Ampero. And enough power to actually run like a sensible dual amp rig with a bunch of effects as well, about 11 blocks. As I say, I don't really love the touchscreen personally. It's not my favourite way to actually interface with one of these types of things. Can we get an octave in? Probably not. But yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
And again, what you think of this trend of companies basically shrinking down their modelers? Are you in favour of this? It's actually quite light, I think about 2.2 kilos. To me it feels even maybe a bit lighter than that, but yeah, quite light. Is it small enough in your opinion? Let me know what you think. Cheers to Boss for sending it out, and yeah, another option.